Some of you are asking the crowd for a perspective on a story the crowd has never actually heard. They heard your version. They saw the screenshot you selected. They watched the moment you decided to post. But they were not present for the private conversations, the warnings, the reconciliations, the boundaries, the favors, the history, or the things both people agreed would remain confidential. So, what exactly are they judging? The truth or the portion of the truth that survived your editing? Today, we need to talk about privacy, incomplete information, manufactured victimhood, and why social media has trained too many people to seek public support instead of private accountability. At some point, you have to stop looking for help in the crowd and learn to stand alone.
Some conversations arrive polished. Some arrive protected. The truth.
But the truth. And you guys will hear that full song later on in the show. Welcome to everybody that is entering the chat. For those of you watching this on the Mind Chaos Brew channel, it won't be staying up on Mind Chaos Brew. This is an introduction to a new channel concept, which is cover raw conversations. Okay? Where we take the cover off without stripping people of their dignity. We do not expose individuals for entertainment. We examine patterns so that all of us have an opportunity to grow. This conversation is not about one friendship, one relationship, or one online disagreement. It's about a habit that has become normal. People bringing incomplete stories to social media and asking strangers for a verdict. Hey, Saida. And then treating that verdict as proof that they were right. But agreement is not proof, applause is not evidence, and popularity is not the same thing as truth. Number one, the crowd does not know the whole story. Healthy relationships contain privacy. Every friendship, marriage, family bond, and working relationship includes conversations that do not belong to the public. There may have been private apologies. There may have been repeated warnings. Someone may have offered help that was never disclosed. A person may have quietly absorbed disrespect for months before finally stepping away. Two people may have agreed not to discuss a sensitive matter publicly. There may be medicinal, financial, family, legal, or emotional details that an ethical person refuses to reveal, even when revealing them would make that person look better. And that matters. Silence does not always mean guilt. Sometimes silence means discipline. Hey, Seven. Hey, Shack Rack. Hey, the best I can be. I like that. That's cute. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Sometimes it means loyalty. Sometimes it means I could embarrass you, but I refuse to become that kind of person merely to win. The public rarely sees that restraint. It only sees one person speaking and another person refusing to perform. And because social media rewards speedy certainty and emotion, the quiet person is often judged before the truth has even put its shoes on. Point two, you cannot request an honest perspective while withholding the information needed to form one. There's nothing wrong with seeking perspective. We all need wise counsel. The problem begins when you say you want perspective, but you only provide information that protects your preferred conclusion. If you remove what you said, what you did, what you promised, what you knew, and what happened before the final reaction, you're not asking for perspective, beloved. You are recruiting agreement. There's a difference between saying, help me understand this situation, and saying, let me arrange the facts so you will help me condemn this person. Real perspective must be allowed to challenge you. It may reveal that you were hurt and still handled the hurt poorly. It may reveal that the other person was wrong and you were also manipulative. It may reveal that your intentions were good, but your impact was harmful. It may reveal that you are not the villain, but you are not entirely the victim either. Most people do not want perspective, Saida. That cost them their innocence. 7, they want confirmation that preserves it. So before you ask the crowd what it thinks, ask yourself, what important information am I leaving out? Would the audience reach the same conclusion if the other person told the story? Am I protecting privacy or am I protecting my image? The best I could be, they better start asking themselves, do they want wisdom or do they want witnesses for the prosecution? And if they can't tolerate those questions, they just might not be ready for an honest answer. Let's get to point 3. How the villain rewrites themselves as the victim. Let us be careful with the word villain. Human beings are more complicated than movie characters. A person can cause harm without being permanently evil. But people absolutely can behave harmfully and then rewrite the story to escape accountability. I had that happen to me in my personal life recently. And I was like, why? Wow. Like, wow. I was confused. I was like, oh, shit. How? Where? Why? Another is selective disclosure. Reveal the evidence that creates sympathy while withholding the evidence that creates context. Another is role reversal. Oh, we don't want to talk about that role reversal, honey. People ain't ready for that. All right? The moment a boundary is enforced, the person who repeatedly violated the boundary announces that they're being abandoned, they're being attacked, they're being controlled, or they're being mistreated. You don't quit that crybaby nonsense out. Stop it. Then comes audience recruitment. Instead of repairing the relationship, they gather people. They collect comments, sympathetic messages, reaction videos, and public defenders. The crowd becomes emotional armor against self-examination. The story changes from I hurt someone and they finally responded to look at how cruelly they responded to me. Right, the best I could be. It'd be like, oh, okay, word, wow. That is how a consequence gets marketed as persecution. And once a person receives enough public sympathy, they may begin to believe their own edited version. The performance becomes identity. They are no longer simply avoiding accountability. They are emotionally invested in remaining the victim because victimhood is now producing attention, protection, and power. I don't really have much respect for performative people. You can always tell the difference between something that's genuine and something that's manufactured. 4. So I know what you meant. The best I could be. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty good at picking up on the typos. Love, y'all are always good in the chat. And I did I pin the other channel? I don't know if I did. Let me go back up. Well, y'all go back up and y'all subscribe to cover Raw Conversations. But social media has a dangerous way of making people feel correct simply because they are visible. You can tell an incomplete story to 10,000 people and receive 10,000 supportive comments, right? That happens all the time. All the time. That still does not make the story complete. The algorithm does not reward emotional maturity, it rewards reaction. Nuance takes too long. Privacy provides too few details. Accountability is less entertaining than accusation. A person calmly saying, "These are private matters I will not disclose," cannot compete with someone posting screenshots, crying on camera, naming villains, and releasing a dramatic update every 2 hours. But while the performance grows, the person may not. They become skilled at narrating their pain but not healing it. Skilled at identifying everyone else's flaws but not examining their own patterns and behaviors. Skilled at collecting supporters but not sustaining healthy relationships. Skilled at going viral but not becoming whole. See, that is what concerns me most. Social media can keep a person so busy proving that they were wronged that they never ask, how can I live better? How can I be better? Which is sick as fuck to me. Facts. Facts the best I can be. Your highest potential is not found in winning every public argument. It's found in developing the character to live without needing strangers to certify your goodness. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Y'all ain't ready for this. But the crowd is often responding to its own wounds. We also need to talk about the audience. People do not always respond to the facts in front of them. They respond to what the story reminds them of. Someone hears betrayal and remembers an unfaithful partner. Someone hears bad friend and remembers being excluded. Someone hears narcissist, abuser, or bully and immediately assigns roles based on their own unresolved history. Now, that does not make their pain imaginary. It means their reaction may be personal rather than objective. The storyteller offers limited information, and the audience fills the empty spaces with its own trauma. Soon, hundreds of people are not discussing the actual relationship at all. They're fighting ghosts from their own lives through strangers online. Let me say that again. They are fighting ghosts from their own lives through strangers online. This is why a crowd can be sincere and still be wrong. Point 6. Privacy is not permission to lie. Oh, thank you. Thank you, the best I could be. Now, privacy cannot become a convenient shield for dishonesty. You cannot say, there are things I cannot disclose, and use that phrase to make any accusation you want. Ethical privacy requires restraint on both sides. If the facts are too private to explain fairly, the conflict may also be too private to prosecute publicly. You do not get to publish a damaging conclusion while hiding every fact necessary to evaluate it. Hey, P. Sometimes the most mature public statement is simply, this relationship ended. There are private details I will not share. I wish everyone well, and I am moving forward. That may not satisfy the audience, but the audience is not entitled to everything it is curious about. Point 7. Learn to stand alone. Standing alone does not mean refusing to support. It does not mean isolation, pride, or pretending you never need help. Standing alone means you can make a principled decision without requiring a crowd to clap for it. It means you can maintain a boundary even if people misunderstand you. You can keep a confidence even when exposing it would improve your image. You can admit where you were wrong without collapsing into shame. You can leave a relationship without launching a public campaign. You can let someone believe a version of you that is incomplete because proving yourself would require betraying what you value. That, my loves, is strength. Choose a small circle of wise, trustworthy people who are allowed to tell you the truth, not just people who automatically take your side. Seek counsel from those who ask questions before giving verdicts. Keep receipts when safety or legal protection requires them, but do not turn documentation into entertainment. Address what can be repaired privately. Leave what must be left. And when you owe an apology, give it without attaching a press release explaining why you were still mostly right. And most importantly, stop outsourcing your identity to an audience. The crowd didn't build your character, did it? The crowd cannot heal your wounds. The crowd will not live with the consequences of your choices. And the same crowd cheering today may misunderstand you tomorrow. The fact remains is this: not everybody knows the whole story. And sometimes, because you still possess integrity, they never will. Let them have the fragment. You keep the truth, the lesson, the boundary, and the growth. If you're telling the story, tell it honestly, enough to risk being corrected. And if you're hearing the story, leave room for what you do not know. And if you're being pressured to perform your private pain for public approval, remember, silence can be dignity. Restraint can be strength. And standing alone is not the same thing as standing without truth. Stop looking for help in the crowd. Learn to stand alone, not because nobody loves you, but because your integrity should not require an audience. This is Cover Raw Conversations. You know how I do it. Yeah. And we take the cover off the pattern without tearing the dignity off the person. If this conversation challenged you, share it with someone who's ready for perspective, not just agreement. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Can a crowd ever judge fairly when privacy keeps part of the story off camera? And until next time, protect your peace, examine your patterns, and keep becoming the person that your future requires. Now, also know this: if you have watched this on Mind Chaos Brew, this will not be public on Mind Chaos Brew. But I will be putting it on the community tab if you would like to revisit the commentary. That being said, everybody, enjoy your Sunday. Take care.
Some conversations arrive polished. Some arrive protected. The truth arrives raw. Cover Raw Conversations. Let's take the cover off. They dressed it in silence, called it keeping the peace. Built a beautiful story where the questions had to cease. But a wound beneath the fabric never heals because it's hidden. And the truth does not turn bitter just because it was forbidden. We can hold two truths without choosing one to bury. Grace can still be honest, love can still be necessary. I don't need the loudest voice to tell me what is real. Sometimes power is the courage to say exactly what you feel. No manufactured outrage, no performance for the crowd. We can speak with understanding without watering it down. Take the cover off, let the raw conversation breathe. We can honor what you're feeling without changing what we see.